members of the ruling party. Joining us, Michael Bociurkiw, who is a columnist and global affairs analyst. He joins us via Skype from Victoria, British Columbia. Michael, appreciate you joining us. So, if these reports were true of the military taking over the broadcast, what is that often a sign of what may be coming next?
Hi, Richelle. Good to be with you again. Well, of course, we've seen around the world wherever these kind of coups or people's revolutions happen, one of the first things to happen, we saw it in Turkey, remember, that the broadcasting stations are taken over to control the message. And what you may see as well is also control of social media being ramped up as well. But I think what we're seeing here, and as you indicated in the first report, is that there are conflicting reports, but this could actually be a tipping point in the run-up to the ruling party Congress next month. And I think what happened is that the so-called liberation generals, those who have a legacy to the 1977 liberation, may have feared an internal party insurrection of the party Congress. So, and you know, the Mugabe and his wife and their circle have started a purge, and we saw that last week when General Chiwenga was challenging Mugabe and also the
Michael,
Vice President.
Did that surprise you that the general was so bold?
Absolutely, because you know, also him and the sacked Vice President, in their statements, they had said that they had done so much for the country that they had, especially the vice president, that he called the Mugabe a father figure. And in both of their messages, I think you saw both a bit of bitterness, but also a warning. And that kind of warning to Mugabe and his wife, who is positioning herself to be the successor to the president, is that don't push things too far. The unanswered question here, of course, is what is going to be the reaction of the people? Because as you well know, they're suffering very much from inflation is back up again, forex reserves are down, and also the agricultural sector is depleted. So very, very tough on ordinary people.
Is the Army, is there any way to know, to tell at this point, if the Army is behind what the general has said in his actions? If the entire Army, is the Army unified in this?
It's very early to tell right now, but whenever you have explosions, has been reported, and also movement of armored personnel carriers, that sort of thing, state broadcasters taken over, it does seem to be a kind of coordinated military effort. However, we have to use Turkey as an example. A recent example here is that there are a lot of reports that in the Turkish attempted coup, that it may have been an orchestrated event for the leadership to crack down even harder. So it's very early to say, but the initial signs are not good. Mugabe and his wife and inner circle will do everything they can after so many years in power to hang on. They will try everything possible. It could get very, very bloody indeed. Now, very quickly. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. So to that point, who can tamp this down?
Well, look, it's going to be very interesting to see who speaks up in the region about this. I doubt South Africa will, even though they aspire to be a regional powerhouse. Also, I don't expect anything much from the African Union. Believe it was last year that Mugabe donated $1 million to the AU, and they're very hesitant, like ASEAN, to criticize their own member states. So I think now would be a time for those in a position who have leverage, perhaps even the United States, to say that, you know, this kind of, if there is going to be a transition, it needs to be peaceful. But above and beyond everything is that the humanitarian situation is very, very bad right now in Zimbabwe, needs to be kept in mind. And I'm hoping that, you know, we will see a transition where someone comes into power who actually does care about his people and does restore things like the education system, medical system, and so on.
Okay, Michael Bociurkiw. Michael, thank you very much.
Pleasure.